into 20, I would think I was 26 when I came into leadership, right? It's about me. It's about me proving who I am. You're going to do what I say, how I say it, what it looks like. Just the immaturity of being a leader. And
Yeah.
so, man, it taught me so much of over the years and growing and developing and working and pushing and really building systemic organizations and what that looks like through effective leadership. That's how I learned.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our ongoing goal is to empower our listeners, inspire you to live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us, be a part of our journey. Now, we're going to be talking about the idea of, we're going to talk about leadership, if you will. And when I think of leadership, you think of a conductor, leading an orchestra to create beautiful music. Being that great leader requires a sense of self-awareness, vulnerability, and continuous growth. And today's guest will certainly help us. He embodies certainly these qualities in his work and life. Dr. Derrick Love is a seasoned educator, father of three, and the CEO of a nonprofit organization, New Horizon Institute. He has over 20 years of experience in the education sector and is a passionate advocate for self-awareness in effective leadership. In today's episode, Derrick shares valuable insights on the importance, again, of having self-awareness and how it relates to leadership, how knowing that self-awareness piece, again, can lead to personal and professional growth. His journey from his early leadership missteps to becoming a reflective practitioner highlights the transformative power of self-awareness and leadership and the difference we can make to the people around us. So now that we've got you all set up, I absolutely am certain that you're going to love our conversation with Dr. Derrick Love. Enjoy. Hey, Dr. Derrick Love, it's great to have you with me here on the Audacious Living Podcast. Thank you for making the time like this.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor and a blessing to be here with you today. And I know that we're going to have a great conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Without question, that is for certain. You spend much of your time sort of in the leadership space, helping, I guess, develop and nurture leadership. Now it's funny because when I got the invite for you to come on, the title was secrets or unveiling leadership secrets, which I think is fascinating because you think after and look, the topic of leadership has been studied for such a long time. And to think that secrets still exist out there, things that we don't know about leadership, is intriguing to me. So maybe as a starting point, we can get you to sort of talk a little bit about your work and how you got to this point that you're at now.
Absolutely. So, hey, everybody, I am Dr. Derrick Love, and first and foremost, I am a father of three. I have a wonderful wife who helps me be the person that I am today. And without her, it wouldn't be possible. But I have three amazing children, one girl and two boys who are great. And so I've been a career educator now for over 20 plus years, working in education in K-12. I serve in higher education as well, too, as a professor and also the CEO of a nonprofit called New Horizon Institute. But most importantly to the audience at large, I am truly a servant at heart. And so when you think about the secrets, well, hey, there are many secrets in leadership that we tap, but I think there's some things that we have not tapped in close detail. And that one, which is on self-awareness in leadership. And how do we become more self-aware to be more of an effective leader, to lead our teams, to lead and communicate the vision and mission of the organization and what that looks like. And I think so many times we go into leadership thinking of a mindset of a me mindset, but not of a we mindset, right? And so self-awareness helps us to understand who we are. What is that moral compass that guides us and moves us? What makes us tick and think accordingly, how do we shape the environment that we're in? And how do we set the temperature that we're in as we walk into that environment?
Um, I love it. I love it because the awareness piece is where it starts for everything. Like if you don't have awareness of who you are, even if you take it outside the leadership space, I mean, if you don't have awareness in general, where are you going? How are you impacting? How are you being effective? And so I think that's a tremendous place to really zero in that focus. Was
Absolutely.
there a bit of a process for you to get to this point of understanding, or what was it? Is it something that you've always sort of hung your hat on, so to speak?
Absolutely not. This is something that I truly had to grow into. I think when I even in the book that I've written, I talk about the early years of leadership and man, how I got it wrong so many times. And truly, to be honest, I owe so many people an apology. I owe them an apology because what I left them hurt. I left them wounded in the sense
Right.
that I didn't lead from a perspective. And coming in into 20, I would think I was 26 when I came into leadership, right? It's about me. It's about me proving who I am. You're going to do what I say, how I say it, what it looks like. Just the immaturity of being a leader. And
Yeah.
so, man, it taught me so much of over the years and growing and developing and working and pushing and really building systemic organizations and what that looks like through effective leadership. That's how I learned. But oh no, sir, I want to tell you. So it was me. It was all me, myself.
Yes.
I.
Yes.
It was always about I. And just a quick story, I had a great boss who, because in that early stage, it was about me, hey, me doing this. And she would say, and every time I said the word I, she would say, we, us, together, And so, all these different things that I had helped me to develop and to cultivate the person
Right.
that I could be as an effective leader.
It's funny. I asked this because I reflected even my own personal leadership journey, and I think from the very early going, I sort of it was about the we and the us, and I never made it about myself. And it's not, I'm not gloating here like that, but I'm telling you, the only reason why that happened was because I saw so many examples of leaders who just got it wrong. And I remember, making that promise to myself that that's something I will never be, only because I know how it made me feel. I know
Yeah.
what it did to me and how counterproductive it was. And in fact, to be able to still say I wanted to be in a leadership role when I had so many bad examples was just, I mean, it was incredible, really, the fact that I still wanted it, right? But it
Right.
is. So you can, I guess, as a leader, my point is, as a leader, you really can have significant impact on people if you're not careful.
And you truly can. I think once again that when we're not self-aware about who we are, we're not self-aware about how to navigate that leadership terrain, then we do leave people wounded. We leave people hurt. We leave people in an array of assortment of all kind of feelings and
Right.
uh, not willing to be successful. They can't be successful. And so as they matriculate on, they're still holding on to those wounds that hurt. And then they take it into the next cycle of job they go into. And then now they're afraid to even say something or act or respond and say something because I'm fearful of how the last situation was and fearful. And so we don't realize that the level of influence and impact that we have as leaders, and that is something that we truly can't take that lightly. We got to be serious about how we do that, what that looks like, and then
Yep.
how we articulate that to our people that we serve, and knowing that it's all about the service and how we render that service unto them so that they can be the best version of themselves, but in turn give you back the best because you invested the best into them.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny when I think about leadership, I oftentimes liken it to that of teachers, right? So growing up, everyone had their favorite teacher, and if you said everyone, hey, how was your favorite? They always, I know exactly my favorite teachers, but then they specifically, if you ask why, it'd be this specific trait. So Miss So and So encouraged me, Mister So and So, he helped me here, like, and I think that is the exact same conversation you can have with leaders. Like, so, why was this person your favorite leader? Well, they
Yes.
helped me to see the best out of me. They
Sure.
encouraged me. They provided motivation. So it's very, very similar. But the piece that I think is probably one of the most powerful ones is the difference oftentimes that they can make in others. It's those little things that they do. It's not these big, profound acts, right? It's just, yeah, so and so just listened to me. So and so just allowed me to speak. Like those are the things that matter. And so it really shows you how much power are in the hands of our leaders.
It is true that I think so, and I think once again, I think you hit something on the head, on the nail on that. Was that it's the small things that really makes a difference, right? It's that someone actively listen to me. Now, I mean, actively listen, not listen to input their own bias, not listening to make a rebuttal, but really actively listening to the conversation and then waiting to be able to interject or clarify or paraphrase. But even in that, not putting you into the situation. And so many times we forget because we put us into the situation, into the equation, and then that's where we get it all wrong, right? But truly active listening is one of the small things you can do, but just also being able to have that person feel valued, feel a part of the team,
Yeah.
allowing their input to be heard without bias or judgment, or not trying to reprimand because they took a risk, or how do
Right.
I coach you through that process and what their process looks like, and how do we unpack that from that standpoint so that it's a growth moment and not, I got you moment,
Gotcha.
and
Right.
so people are always fearful because it's always I got you moment. I got you uncovered. You know what I'm saying? And the leader, it's our role to cover our people, but unpack that with them to help them grow and to see the best within them and to bring that to them. And I think that's when people begin to see, dang, you really care about me. You don't
Yeah.
just see me as an employee or just as that, but you see something greater in me. And then from that, man, that's buy-in, that's vision. I don't have to ask, are you going to come to work? You coming, right? I don't have
Right.
to ask you, are
Right.
you going to be on time? You definitely going to be on time. I don't have to ask you, is the workload going to get done? Because you've already motivated to get it done. But because I've put something in you, right? I've
Yes.
invested in you. And that is what we call, quote, quote, I guess the secrets, right? Or quote, quote, the secrets that
Right.
allow us, the secret sauce that allows us to flourish, but also build
Right.
at the same time.
Right, right. No, I do. I'm a big fan of that, Derek. I got to tell you, really big fan of that. Curious. You've spent a lot of time in the education space, right? That's where his bulk of your career. Does leadership change at all, or how leadership operates in the leadership space, or the education space? Is that any different?
Absolutely not. I think one of the things I think we think that is different in maybe different fields, different occupation, but leadership is leadership. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you're in corporate America and you're in higher ed or K-12 public education, governmental agencies, or whatever it is. Leadership is leadership. And what I found is that and at the crux of it all, we all want the same thing, right? We also want someone to be able to lead to that's over us to be able to lead effectively and what that looks like. I remember speaking just about man in December, and this is what's all governmental employees, and
Mhm.
so you think I'm thinking like I'm coming in as an education guy, but we all it's all the same. Like, there was no difference in how we lead, and none of what does effective communication look like as a leader, and how do we do that, and what that looks like. It all goes across all. But even like that, leadership's like a good marriage, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like a good marriage. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying not to chuckle, but this is where I love where this is going.
It's like a good marriage, man. Either you gonna make it or you gonna break it, right? And so you want to make sure that you
right.
make, even when you have the breaking moments, how to
Yeah.
repair those moments, right? How to repair the situation through effective communication, through effective leading, so that you can lead people effectively, man. So I always equate it to, not only does it apply in our professional lives, but it also applies in our personal lives, how we
Gotcha.
lead and how we govern, even ourselves, and being self-aware, even in our personal lives and what that looks like for us, because it's the compass, it guides us, it's going to help us move in the direction that we should be moving, that's positive.
Gotcha. Gotcha. We joked earlier, or you joked earlier when you referenced that you've got some people to apologize to for your previous leadership experiences, and that really leads into what I believe is an important point with respect to the fact that as a leader you're learning, right, ongoing. It doesn't, at no point do you arrive as a leader, if you will. It's always kind of, you're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always learning. Um, I oftentimes joke, and it's say, leadership is, learn while you go kind of job, right? It's hands-on training. Um, the impact still, it's such a, because it's such a fine line, Derrick, right, between
Correct.
being that effective leader and then the other side, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, you're still learning, you're still evolving.
Yes.
The How do you, I guess I'm trying to figure out the best way you balance that, because you're still learning, but you still have to lead people. The job still has to done, but you still have to figure out how to do it, right? Like it's a balancing act, isn't it?
It's definitely a balance. And I think one of the things that you can do most effective as a leader is to be reflective, right? So in my reflective thought process, I may be asking myself these questions, how is the decision that I'm getting ready to make today going to impact the people that I lead? What does that look like? How are they going to feel? How am I going to communicate that? How am I going to get buy-in? And I think even after the decision is made process, right? So as I reflect at the end of the day of my day, how did that go? How did the decisions? How did my nonverbal and verbal did they match? Did they align? Did they communicate something? And I think those are the moments that you grow astronomically, or when you're going through the process side by side, because you're leading but you're also reflecting. And I think a
Right,
good leader who is a reflective practitioner always has that room as a continuous improvement piece process, because it may be, you know what, I got 95% of it right, but that 5% didn't go right. So then how do
right,
I go back and now to digest that 5% that didn't go right? And then how do I re-strategize or rethink that in a way that will promote a different outcome or a different change, right? And so I think that's how we balance that side by side piece, is that it's if the reflection piece of that, and as a reflective practitioner, that's how we ebb and flow, and we move in that ebb and flow, so that we're always in a state of continuous improvement and continuous growth. One of the worst things we can do is feel like that we've arrived at a certain point, right? And feel like that we've grown enough to whereas I've learned it all, I've done it all, so I know it all. And I think when we have that egotistical mindset, then that's when things begin to
right.
kind of break, things be kind of fall because of that egotistical mindset. And so we want to make sure that we keep that open mindset, that positive growth mindset at all
Right.
times, so that we are ensuring the success of the people that will lead and the organizations that we're leading as well.
That reflective piece is a significant one, and I'm very glad you spoke on that. In fact, when you sort of think about, we at the very beginning, we talked about it's not about me. Well, in order to be a good reflective leader, you still have to keep that frame of thinking that it isn't about me, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about those I'm leading. Because if it's about you, right, and you reflect, you're good. Like
Right.
I've done what I'm supposed to do. Like, I've led, we gain the metrics, I move the bar, everyone's happy, we're good. I'm great, right? That's really what it comes down to. But it's not that. There's much more going on. And when you take the time to pause, and I think that pause and reflection is hand in hand, right? So you
Yes,
take that
absolutely.
pause to pause and reflect, and you can look back. And not that you can't, we all know that we can't go back and think that we're done, right?
Right.
We can't
Right.
become something different.
Mm-hmm.
What we can do is acknowledge and make that commitment to do better for future.
I think that's one of the things we always have to do, right? Is keep that mindset and perspective of that, even though it didn't go right, right, but it's still okay. And I think don't beat yourself down on the imposter syndrome. Oh, woe is me, I can't do it, I can't excel, and all that kind of good stuff. But take every experience as a learning experience. I think one of the things I think either you talked about before or we started, taping, and that is that I remember something regarding that you learn from every leader what to do and what not to do. And I would take that same opinion and advice, right? Is that from every leader that was good, bad, or indifferent, I still learned from that leader. I was still able to grow from that leader. And there were things that I saw that, hey, I'm gonna take that with me, but you know what? I'm leaving those two or three things way behind, and I'm not bringing that into this current space that I'm in, or I'm not bringing that with me as my personal development piece. So you learn. And I think as you navigate that piece, you learn from the good and the bad, but then you always look at how do I, take those reflective moments and make those a part of my own personal self-development and my own personal journey of growth. And then you continue to move forward.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there. It's really, so pause, reflect, learn, and adapt and change. Like
Mm-hmm.
and it's all sort of one process, if you will, doctor. I mean, you just sort of it doesn't just happen. There's some work that's involved with that, and so I like the idea of pause, reflect, and what can I change, and be honest. And there's a part where you have to be really honest with yourself, right? Like,
You do, you
you
do.
know, how did I mess this thing up? Like, how can I make it better? And how can I,
Right.
change? Right? Those are some tough questions to ask if you've got that ego mindset and it's, I'm good. Everyone else is a problem, right?
Right. I think that's what you're saying though. Like if you thinking like everyone else is the problem, then you know what? They are going to be the problem, right? And if you don't have the ability to look at inwardly and about who you are and what that is and how you're contributing to it, then it will never be as what you're hoping or anticipating that it can be. I think sometimes leaders, if you want short-term change, do it that way. But if you want something that's systemic, that's life changing, and that continues to evolve and grow, then you're going to be that self-reflective person. You're going to look at the ways of how to change. You're going to look at the diverse ways of doing that. You're going to look at teaming and how is my team gelling and how is it working
Yep.
together. Ooh, I see someone's off right about here. And then, hey, let's see why that's off part right there. So, hey, Greg, what's going on, bro? How you doing today? Good. Hey, man, I just kind of feel like there's something off here. Let's talk about that. Was it because of the last project? Did you feel some type of way? And then we kind of begin to kind of work with Greg in such a way. So, because you don't want anything to really mess up that teaming effect or the synergy that's already been created. You want the synergy to last. And I'm not saying synergies are always going to be on every single thing, right? But as much as you can hope to maintain that level of synergy and energy into the workflow, the better outcomes and productivity of the product piece that they're going to produce, right? And so you get a better product piece in that arise from that. And so as long as we continue to do those things, I do believe we'll be a better person as leaders,
Mm-hmm.
better
Mm-hmm.
people as leaders.
As you're talking, one piece that sort of come to mind that I think is sometimes forgotten about is the relationship you have with the people that you're leading,
Mm-hmm.
and how much the leadership experience can be benefited if there's a relationship, and at the end of the day, yes, there's still a leader and the followers, if you will, those are clear roles. But that doesn't mean that there can't be a relationship for the purposes of understanding one another, right? So you just
Mm-hmm.
get an example, hey, how are you doing? How you feeling? Like to be able to ask those questions, to be able to genuinely ask those questions and get an honest response, there
Right.
needs to be some sort of foundation there. I wonder if you sort of talk about the importance of relationships.
All the important relationships are huge. I don't think you can move an effective or organization without effective relationships and or teams without relationships. And I think one of the things that how we get to the effective relationships is two things. One is vulnerability, showing that we are human, we are vulnerable. There are times where we do get it wrong, being able to admit that I got it wrong, being able to come back and says, hey, how can we re-strategize because of that misstep that
Right.
maybe I've communicated, or maybe I didn't provide you with the adequate resources or tools to support you in the work. What does that look like? And then from that vulnerability of the leader being vulnerable, it builds trust. And when I can build trust amongst the people that I lead or the organization, then we begin to get certain. Then it also forms a better tight knit relationship, right? Because now when you trust me, you're going to work with me. You're going to give me not 100%, you'll give me 110%, right? Because now there's a trust, there's vulnerability, and there's a greater
Yes.
relationship that's now interwoven into that, and it's really built. And so now you're like, oh yeah, you know what? That dear guy ain't too bad. That dear guy's all right with me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So when I come and we got to have a tough conversation, you don't look at as that dear guy coming to beat up on me. You're looking at that dear guy to help me get better and what that looks
Right.
like. You look at that dear guy, so you know what? He's my thought partner. He's not just my boss. He's my thought partner. And if you don't look at that dear guy as just like but he's that person who comes to offer assistance, but also resources and what other ways can we manage it? How can we do it? What that looks like. that is a person that now becomes that person when there's a relationship and we
Yes.
built that in that vulnerability, that trust, that communication, and all these things that we know what makes up a great team and the elements that are needed to make a great team. And I think that's what helps us to move.
Are those one of the secrets we got out there?
Yeah, quote. That's right there. I forgot to do my quote line, bro. But those are the secrets right there that helps us to get to where we're supposed to be. But you know what? I don't think yeah, they're the secrets. I just think these are just kind of I would say mistruths or misprinciples that
Yes.
we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't tap into, right?
Yeah.
And I think we forget about those things and we just don't tap into it enough to get the best out of people. And I think because we may have an upper management that's taxing us, so
Right.
once being taxed and you're gonna tax a person lower on
Goes
you, right?
down.
Right, it goes downhill, right? Instead of just saying, okay, you're gonna tax me, but in order for me to get the best out of them, I can't tax them like you taxing me. I gotta change my method to get the best out of them. So from the bottom up, we can get a better workflow piece, right? So I think quote quote these secrets are just things that we miss principles that we forget to tap in on a daily basis. And I think that's the reason why we see such a generation of leaders who are misguiding future leaders and therefore a society that is not being productive
Yeah.
as we can be. And I think it's because of the egotistical, egocentric mentality, mindset, and perspective. It's me. It's all about me instead of a collective we. And I think when we see the collective we that we bring to the table, not I
Yes.
bring to the table, right?
Yes.
It's a we that comes to the table to sit down and eat and feast together, right?
Right. That's right. Yep.
Right. It's a
Right.
we that comes together to sit down and feast together. And when we can come together and feast together, we can hear one another. And I think that's what moves us. It will move us into a better space as a society in leadership.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Derrick, this has been a great chat. I'd be remiss if we didn't get into your book. So what can you tell us about the your book?
Man, so the book that I have is Self-Awareness and Leadership, Why the Best Leaders First Examine and Then Lead Themselves, man, is a work that's near and dear to my heart. It's one that I truly believe are, quote, quote, the misprinciples that we don't tap into every day to really bring out the best in people.
Right.
And that is from anything from understanding who we are and what drives us to what motivates us, what makes us tick, what helps us to move further in life. That is the starting point, which I believe is the foundation that allows us to be able to flourish. And once we understand who we are in that foundation,
Mm-hmm.
then we're able to give in such a way that promotes success in our workplaces. And so this book provides, man, so many constructs, the theoretical constructs that's within a book. I also tap into previous leaders who've done it well, right? Who you can tap into and see that's done it well. There's a lot of reflective moments because you see, I like to reflect. I want to
Yes.
know what you're
Yep.
thinking, right?
Yep.
I cannot. That's who I am. So there's a lot of reflective moments in the book as a leader, but there are 11 chapters within this book, man. I tell you that if you read, apply, reflect, do the activities, you're definitely going to come out not only a stronger leader, a better leader, a self-aware leader, and one that's truly want to impact change. And that change is greater than self, it's for the greater good of the people, right? And so when you have the greater good of the people mentality,
Yep.
then we see great impact and great change happen. So this book, man, I tell you, it's a great piece of work.
I love it. I love it. For listeners who wanted to pick up a copy or learn more about you, where can we sell them, Derrick?
Yeah, man, you can get it on my website at www.newhorizoninstitute.org or you can purchase it on Amazon or any other book retail outlet. Yeah.
Very cool. Listen, I appreciate the convo. I tell you, like much of this podcast, we focus on and encourage people to live their best audacious lives, and truly, I believe that reflective piece, that self-awareness piece that you touched on, there are key aspects in doing so. So I appreciate the convo. I appreciate the enlightenment. Congratulations on the book, and all the best, my friend.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, man, and thank you for having me today.
We've talked about self-awareness, and self-awareness is, one of those leadership secrets, if you will. And it's that compass that guides us towards effective leadership. By reflecting on our own decisions, actions, and interactions, we can create a positive impact on the people we lead, fostering trust, building strong relationships, and driving success. If you'd like to connect with Derrick directly or learn more about his work, we certainly have his contact details in the show notes, and I encourage you to connect with him for more insights. Your feedback and engagement are always appreciated, and I thank you for tuning into this Audacious Living Podcast episode. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, of course, you can follow, like, subscribe, or share. We also, if you want to give us a 5-star rating, we'll never turn that down. It's very, very much appreciated. Remember, greatness awaits you when you embrace the audacity that lies within you. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.